But then
Not
I knew
even
this
from good social.
girl that was having these problems with her husband. And when I saw her on Facebook, I was like, that ain't the story you told me last night.
Media. Welcome back. It's Tigro, Tracy, Adrian, Denise, and we are
Wife Life Tribe, doing life as wives and friends.
That's right. All right, Tracy, what are we talking about on today's episode?
Today's episode has a lot. We are going to be talking about us meeting again, and then we're also going to talk about our wife personality because we are totally different. And then we're going to see where the episode takes us.
I like it.
Jump right on in.
I like it. Let's go.
All right. So we talked about the last time we met in college, and we talked about how we have moved into the space of being weekly friends. Like we have to get together every single week or something is out of whack. And if we're not meeting on our Wednesday nights, we have to do something on the weekend where we get together. So that's like a really big thing. But then we're going to talk about like, what's our wife personality, meaning what kind of wife are you, like, not necessarily too deep, but we know that everybody has their things. I know that I am, I've only been married for 3 years, so my story is going to be a little bit different from those 15-year, those.
Okay, the bits.
Yes. And my wife journey has actually changed a lot since I started my business. And we're going to talk a little bit about our own businesses too. So I want to start with Adrian, actually. We want you to talk about the Oliver Learning Center first.
Okay. I have a nonprofit, the Oliver Learning Center, and we are a center that offers adult English classes for those whose first language is not English. This has been a passion of mine for the past 7+ years, and something I've been working toward for the past, I'll say 3 years. And 2 years ago, I decided to step out on faith and open it. And so it has been a labor of love. Right now, we have, I can't even say quarterly book club. So I've been doing book clubs since the summer. And I find that the adults, it's a very informal way of practicing their English, learning English by reading a book. And so I've had 3 sessions, no, 2. We're on our second session now. We've been going strong since November, and we're almost done with our book. I love the adults that are in our program. And so hopefully this is something that will continue to grow and flourish as the Lord sees fit. My goal this summer is to possibly start doing business English classes for those adults who are a little more advanced as far as their English speaking. And we can be found on social media, and it is sad, at the Oliver Learning Center. Hold on, I just had the email address because, the Oliver Learning Center at gmail.com. We can be found on Instagram at the Oliver Learning, hold on, let me not lie. The Oliver Learning Center, spelled all the way out, and on TikTok, and watch TikTok be loud because I'm trying to open it up. At the Oliver Learning Center. Center is CTR, so Oliver Learning CTR on TikTok. So yes, follow us. If you have adults that you work with or know that are looking to improve their English, want a community where they can feel comfortable and safe practicing their English, hit us up. We're here.
That's what's up.
One day you're going to have to go in through that journey about how you got your nonprofit, because I know there are a lot of women out there that have that who are going through that journey or want to go through that journey because they have the aspirations of having a nonprofit organization. And I know
absolutely
at the time, but you got it, honey.
Girl, you better make me dance. Hey.
Give a little shoulder work.
And I want to apologize, y'all. My baby girl was coming back. So, we live in real lives as we doing wives. You know what I'm saying?
Baby.
Had to pop off and say hello.
You might hear husbands, children's, pets. You never know what you'll hear.
Absolutely. But to me, some of my favorite podcasts that I'm a fan of and listen to, like stuff like that happens. Like it's real conversation, very casual, very relatable, and stuff like that happens. So that's what I relate to.
Hope y'all relate to it too, because it's gonna be happening. We all
right. We here.
Oh,
I do not have my own business, but I did start a attempt, let's put it that way. I started taking welding classes about last August, maybe a little bit before then, and with my daughter actually, and I love it. And so I just received my welding license this probably this December. And so I'm working as an intern with my teacher at Strike and Walk the Cup Welding LLC. And so she is a Black-owned business and a woman who teaches grown men how to weld and get in this business at this day and age. And she starts with the kids also, so they have something to fall back on when they get out of high school. Because you don't have to go to college for this. And so it's really, I don't know, hands-on. And I call it my motorcycle, because at my age, people would be like, oh girl, you're having a midlife crisis right now. But it's really, I don't know, fulfilling. And it will allow me to make the furniture because I like to go secondhand shopping. And when I see something, I'm like, oh, that's broken. How am I gonna get that fixed? Now I can fix it myself, people. I guess my goal in this is that I would like to start my own classes for women, because some women feel a little bit intimidated going to take these classes with these grown men who are trying to actually work in the field. Maybe they want to do something else with it. So yeah, that's my future plan hustle.
I have a question for you too, Denise. I'm filled with questions tonight, I guess. How did you, what made you get into welding? What exposed you to welding?
Woman, it was HGTV. People don't sleep on it.
I love it.
And this woman was winning because they were creating furniture, and everybody was making like this wood stuff, but she was putting metal, and she was a blacksmith. She had blacksmith experience, and she was putting wood with the metal, and it was looking so, I don't know, expensive. Like, you watching her make it, and I was like, oh my goodness. And she's working a fire, and she's beating the metal and bending it and designing it. I'm like, that is so hard right there. I said, I told him, my husband was looking at me. He's like, what? I said, I want to do that. And he's the reason why I actually started classes, because he was at work, and he saw the truck, and it said Strike Walk the Cup Welding, and this woman got out. He went over to talk to her, and he's like, because they was in a strange environment or whatever, so he had to go like this. He's like, hey, I'm not some stranger trying to talk to you, whatever. I have a wife and daughter who are interested in being a welder. And so she gave him the information, and I called her, and it went from there.
Oh, supportive husband.
Yes.
I love that. I love that.
That is great. I didn't know that. We talk all the time.
Right.
Yeah, she never told us. She never told us like how it came about. She just one day said, "Oh, I'm taking welding classes," and we was like, "Okay."
Right. But let's be
clear.
clear.
To my mother also, because she sure was against it. You want to be a welder? That's like fire. Why would a girl want to do that? I'm like, Ma, don't worry about it. Just know I can do it. Just know I'm doing it.
Right.
Right.
Good. But if we're all honest, Denise, you're the one, all of us have our creative sides, but you are the one that I think you and your husband have done some renovation to your home that you're living in now. And then
our house and tore it apart and put it back together again, because it was like the ugliest house on the block. Like, if you were going to buy the ugliest house on the block, call us, because we know a little something about it. We have had tried and everything. We've had, like, the basement was all one room, and we put all the walls up in the basement and made the bathroom and made all these rooms down here. Yeah, so definitely HGTV. I don't know what happened to us, but I was watching it and he sat down and watched it with me. It was like, I feel like we could do that. That's been our mentality the whole time.
That's
The
awesome.
whole
That's
time.
good.
That's a great name for a business. We can do that.
Yeah, I like it.
So
And
Toya,
kudos to you. Sorry, Tracy. Kudos to Denise because listen, how many people, get stuck in life, feeling like it's too late. It's too late to reinvent themselves, or it's too late to take a risk on themselves. It's because of examples like you and y'all. Like, take me for example. Like, I didn't get into my career of teaching until 36 years old. Before that, after I finally graduated, I worked in business for a few years before I decided to go back and start teaching. So, you're setting an example for somebody. Like, think about the many women, who feel like, that might be teachers, educators, or in a comfortable position where they get a regular, check, but have dreams or just desires, to take a risk on something that they've always wanted to do, or really wanted to dig into a hobby that they have and see where it could take them. You have possibly found joy, so
Yeah.
I don't know if I would call it your motorcycle. I like that analogy though. That was actually pretty cool. But kudos to you. I commend you, for taking that risk.
Yeah, I tell people, I was like, it was crazy when I started like going to go and try to pick backsplashes and putting them in matching it with countertops, and then that stuff come together. It was like, what? Look at that! We did that right there. What? I told you that country chic will come in handy.
You also said something about you being a woman. I think that a lot of times people get held back. Women especially get held back because it's the man thing to do. Welding is traditionally something that men do. But I think that you've like really broken that barrier for a lot of people, just to be able to say, I am a welder. Like, I'm not just an educator, I'm also a welder. I think that's very commendable.
Yeah,
Yes.
honestly, there's a lot of things that I have been told that when I'm trying different stuff, they're like, yeah, you should probably be really good at it because any woman I know is way better than a man. And then it is actually true. My daughter, when she was welding, she was killing everybody in the whole room. Like, I don't know if she was nervous. She was very detailed. Whenever the questions in class was being asked, she was all over it. And I'm looking at her like, okay, all right. Because you would think, I want to say at the time she was 14. So she was really on it. She went straight. She did really good with the different forms of welding. She was able to complete tasks way faster than anybody in the classroom. So please don't stop at your age or be afraid to start too young either. So if your child is bored, give them something to do. There's plenty of like activities and classes to take. Don't have to wait till later. Just go out and try it.
That's what's up. And I've shared with you, offline. One of the reasons why I got super excited and was kind of instantly proud of you, like it was kind of nostalgic for me, because my mom was a welder by trade. She retired, from welding. She worked at, the shipyard, worked on battleships, and of course, my mom was already old, by the time she had me. But during that time, it was not, a lot of ladies that was doing it. But the opportunity came to like the Mobile area at a time when it provided a life, for a lot of people. And my mom was a single mom of a lot of kids, and so she made a career out of it. I actually just recently found out we're getting ready to celebrate my mom's sister's 80th birthday in the next 2 weeks. And my cousin reached out to me to ask me to write a poem for the celebration. I'm the youngest of the nieces and nephews, and I'm a bit younger than them because my mom was so old when she had me. And so I kind of interviewed my cousin, to get some information about my auntie, because, there's a lot of personal things that I just didn't know. I didn't grow up. By the time I came about, she was already, living away, and all of her kids were grown, so it was a lot I didn't know. And I actually just found out that she also was a master welder, so they were doing it as a means of survival. You're now coming about doing it as a creative outlet, a potential business, for yourself. So, that's a full circle moment. And like Teresa said, like that's, you are going to like really encourage a lot of women, about, that breaking that glass ceiling, because glass ceilings are still being broken, even though we're in 2023, So we're proud of you.
We are. Cheers to you, honey. So speaking of you writing a poem, why did they come to you, ma'am?
I'm the resident writer in the family. So I am T. Grow, Arthur T. Grow. My passion is writing. I fell in love with words, really as an outlet, as an emotional outlet in high school. And it became a way of communication for me. And then when I got into college, kind of kept it going. And when I became a single mom, deep in the church, I started writing plays. I was over our drama ministry. And one night, had a dream. I was in one of those seasons where I didn't know. I worked at a call center. And I just felt like, God, I got to have something else for me. This can't be it. I still didn't have even my first degree at that time. And God brought it to me in a dream. He had given me words for a reason. And that was to be a writer. And so now I have 2 children books, Lucy the Love Bug and Alice Leaves the Palace. And they are inspirational, moral-based stories. And I have my baby, my pride and joy, my latest book, Raising My Man Child. Another purpose that I know that I have is to use my story of being a single mom for so many years in a situation that did not turn into something positive, to encourage and motivate other single moms who are coming up behind me. And so my book, Raising My Man Child, is a resource. It's a love letter. It's a support to single moms who are doing what I had to do. And there will be many more books to come, but that's my story. That's my passion. I am a writer, an author. I do still write poems, although I don't write them as often. And just recently, I haven't even shared this with y'all girls. My fiance is the photo editor for a local magazine. It's new. I think they just had their 1-year anniversary, but it has already taken off really good. It's called Huntsville Magazine. And I just got the opportunity to come on as a feature writer. I just got my first story, and it'll be published this spring. I'm going to be doing a written piece on the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. They do a really internationally known space camp. And so that's going to be my first piece. So I'll be adding that to my writing resume. So that's me. That's my story.
That is awesome.
You better do it then, baby.
Huntsville Magazine. Okay, Huntsville would come up and getting off some T. Grow.
Sprinkling a little magic on them. Sprinkling a little magic. Black girl magic.
That is awesome. That's amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, and of course, we can't tell our business story without you giving yours and how we got here.
Yes, ma'am. Well, I am a podcaster. I can't say by trade. One day I just picked up the mic and started talking, and I have not stopped. I am on episode 110.
Yes, come on. Wit listens, okay?
So I actually have a business called the Wife Life Society, which is actually a it's a lot of things. I'll just give you my objectives. So I have them written down. So of course I have to read them because my memory is not, obviously hasn't been serving me well today. So it's to prepare single women for the married life, to promote married life in real life, and to provide representation of happy marriages. Because I feel like as young Black women, and I don't know what it's like in other communities or other cultures, but a lot of times we have not been exposed to the most positive relationships, or we've had parents that were not married, but they were telling us how to treat a man, or we've had situations where we've seen abuse, or things like that. So it is my goal to interview married couples, married women, to find out what makes a successful marriage. And I'm telling y'all, the running thing is communication, and it's something that people say that they do well, but if you're just talking, then it's not communication, and through the Wife Life Society, I've learned a lot about how to treat my husband, and I've been able to give good advice on how to treat a husband, not just because of what I do for my husband, but from what other women have told me that they do with their husband. And it has knocked off a lot of things, like the idea of submission and what that means and what it looks like has been changed for me through these conversations, because I thought it was one thing, and I'm a strong Black woman. I ain't got time to be, we're not gonna go there this episode, but but now I have a totally different view of what submission looks like, and being able to not deny myself, but close my mouth at times and allow my husband to be a man. And it's
yes, honey.
it's big, it is big, and it makes my relationship much better. I haven't lost any of me to allow him to be him. And the misconception is you have to deny yourself in order for your husband to be the lead, and that is not the case. So I want to show that through the Wife Life Society, ways to be a better wife, ways to be a better woman, the ways to find harmony in your life, being a wife. So I've started a club, I have a social media, wifelifesociety.com, and I'm on all social platforms, all of them.
Yes.
Still too much.
Love it.
So that kind of started this podcast journey, and I'm really excited about continuing. So that's me in a nutshell.
And we love it.
Yes,
you brought up something that I actually talk about in Raising My Man Child, in one of the chapters when I talk about my parents. Like, one of the things that I'm now more aware of and accountable for is, we are our life and the things that, we have gone through. When we're honest with ourselves, they are a result, of things that we experienced in our childhood, things that we learned or lack thereof, like you said. And I did not have, one of the things I talk about in my book is I didn't have the example of seeing my mom in a functioning, stable relationship. I did not see her having the ability, like I said, to Denise, she was a welder. I saw my mom being a hardworking woman. I saw her, dealing with life's challenges. But the downside to that is I didn't see her be soft. I didn't see her be properly loved by a man, And so I had no blueprint for what is it supposed to look like? What is it supposed to feel like? How does it move? And I think a lot of that is why I engaged in some of the relationships and situationships that I did engage in, as I grew up, and then now that I'm in a stable, functioning relationship, I've had to be really intentional about being soft, and moving in a way, like you said, that allows a man to be a man and understand that I don't have to shrink myself in order for him to be the man that he needs to be for our family and for our household. So that's something really important that you are bringing into the conversation. And I think that it definitely deserves a platform.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I talked about actually being the soft place for your husband to land in my podcast this past week. I don't know if I posted it or not, but I did record it. I did record it, because people think that when you're a soft place for your husband to land that you're weak.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not the case. It's just a place where the world's gonna beat men up, period.
Right.
Period.
Black men, especially.
Yes, ma'am. And when they come home, they don't need to be beat again.
Right.
So giving him what I went through in my day is not my first course of action when he comes home, because I go through a lot being in the position that I'm in, working with 110 employees. It's a lot, so when he comes in, he don't need to hear about what Miss such and such did on the job. That's not his first.
Yeah.
The first thing is hello. The first thing is come lay over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
just
making
glad
sure. What'd you say?
I'm glad to see you.
Yes.
Glad we're home.
Yes. So yeah, that was a big one.
Cool. So where are we moving to now?
Those are very good points, ladies, because I need both of y'all. My husband needs all the assistance that he can get.
I think that's very important because I'm telling you, with y'all having 15 years between the two, y'all, I don't do this thing right all the time, but I sure do try,
And that's what we have to remember, that marriage, and I think a lot of people see other couples and they think, oh, it's easy. It takes work, and it takes work on the behalf of both parties, not just one. It takes work. It takes work.
Especially in this social media age, people put out what they want you to see. And I think, especially for young, I think our generation, like, we get that. We know that. We were the generation that kind of, we have experienced the before and the after. So we still have a good balance of reality. But for the generations who social media is their reality, it's been their life, it's been about since they are old enough to remember, like, it's easy to get lost in remembering that people only put out what they want you to see. It's only a snapshot. Yes, I might post pictures or post about our date night, but that's not to say that we don't have disagreements. I'm definitely not going to post a picture when I done rolled over in the morning, and I got crust in my eyes and my hair, like, so a lot of people get wrapped up in wanting these social media pretty relationships, and you forget that it's a lot that goes into having a real together functioning stable relationship.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I although I am a piece of that, I was here before social media was here, and now I'm living through it. I did fall into that, looking at other people's lives and being like, why can't I? Like,
yeah, absolutely, I can say the same.
But then,
not even from
girl that was having these problems with her husband, and when I saw her on Facebook, I was like, that ain't the story you told me last night, because we were on the phone. You were telling me what was going on, but now he the best thing since sliced bread, but he got another girl. So I was like, okay, all right. It's just social media is a show. It should be called social media.
And then you got the ones who they put everything out there, and it's good. And then they go mute. They're quiet, and you don't see nothing, because they ain't gonna get that side, and then next thing you know, they're divorced, or to move on to the next by the time they posting again, so you just have to be mindful of that. Like, people put out the part that they want you to see.
I'm glad you said that because that reminded me of something that you said when you were talking about your mom. You were saying that it was harder because you didn't see the soft place to land or whatever, the softness of a woman as you were growing up. But I wonder if, like, I'm not trying to bash my mom. My mom, my best, that's my girl. But she was married 3 times, right? I wonder if a part of me being able to date somebody and being like, I holla, and like, I don't even need you no more, was because it's kind of like, I don't need that. I can do bad by myself. You know, that I can do bad by myself mentality rather than the I'll work on it mentality, you know? So I wonder if that had anything to do with it and how it's going to play out in our children, you know?
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. So with that being said, that can kind of lead us into our next segment. With you talking about that, what kind of wife personality would you give yourself?
Are there options?
I was just about to say, I need options. I need options. We need to identify some TV wives.
Oh, that's good.
Good. That's good. Yeah. But who would I be?
I ain't never seen myself on TV ever. But I will say I can find some mixes. Like, okay. Of course, I'll be Claire Huxtable.
Okay.
Yeah.
But only part of Claire. Only part of Claire. Okay, let's just go through and name some wives first. Okay.
I was just about to say, because I'm outside of Claire Huxtable, I've got
Vivian?
nothing.
Yes.
Oh, Fresh Prince.
Thanks.
Okay. Okay.
The Blackish wife. I don't remember what her character's name.
No.
Right, because she's Joan to us.
That's girlfriend.
Yes, it
but
is.
That's the same woman. It's Tracy Ellis Ross.
Character is pretty much just her after marriage.
Joan.
With a different career.
Vivian. This is hard.
Also, we had like Moesha's mom. We had
Love Cheryl.
Yeah, she was a wife.
Oh, okay.
Family Matters. The mom from Urkel.
What's her name? I just love her voice. So
raspy. What was it? Harriet. What other moms did we have from our era?
So maybe I'm an old school mom, but all of a sudden I can remember is Dynamite's mom.
Good time. None of us.
Okay. All right. So
I don't know if there's a TV mom that. Lord, I don't want to be Florida Evans.
TV mom / wife. That's tough. Because we didn't have a whole lot. Okay. Vivian, Harriet.
Florida Evans.
Okay. I don't remember.
Okay.
While we think about TV moms, I can say, and I hate to say this and I hate to admit this, because it's almost kind of stereotype. But if I'm honest with myself, because I was a single mom for so long, like if I had to give myself a wife, even though, again, I'm not a wife yet, I'm on the way there. But we've been cohabitating. I think I would be like the independent woman. He got to tell me to pipe down, hush sometimes, you're doing too much.
So Peggy Bundy, basically.
She's the wife and a mom. Boom. Peggy.
Pipe down, Peggy. Sit down.
Listen, if you ain't doing it fast enough, I got it. Don't worry about it.
That's a flaw. I have the same problem. It's a flaw because, there have actually been a lot of TikToks about that recently where they were talking about like the woman asking a man to do something and then she just do it herself.
Yeah, it's a problem. I have to talk myself down. Thanks to therapy. I'm definitely learning better ways of communicating, not just outwardly or externally, but internal. Like I am really, we say all the time as moms, pick your battles. And definitely as educators, pick your battles. What I'm learning a new meaning. You know how like sometimes you can read something, whether it's the Bible or a book, when you come at it a second or third time, it takes on a different meaning, depending on what you're going through in life. Mm-hmm. That's where I am with pick your battle. Mm-hmm. And sometimes I really have to internally talk myself down. Like, is this a battle worth fighting? Like, are you playing the bad guy against really yourself? Your relationship, like y'all having a good time, might be headed to date night. He says something that annoys you, or like I said, you ask him to do something, it didn't get done fast enough. Like, but y'all are okay. Are you really willing to throw some turmoil out there based off of this thing, this little thing? Can you deal with this a different way? Can you overlook it? Like, that's what I'm learning right now. But that independent woman, she gets in the way. I have to quiet her a lot.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes, I have a tendency to not fight the battle in the moment, depending. But a flaw that I have along with that is I'll bring it up later. Like, we ain't addressing it now, but I'm gonna bring it up later, and that is a problem for my husband. He doesn't like that. He would rather me bring it up now. If it's that much of a problem and we're gonna talk about it, don't wait 2 weeks and then try to bring it up. That was something that I learned through our relationship. I learned that that's how he is. Because for me, it's kind of like, at first we're gonna talk about it right now. We're gonna talk about it right now. Then I became, we can talk about it later. That's fine. And then I became, we're gonna talk about it later, but I'm gonna bring it up the same way I would have brought it up if we would have talked about it then. But now I learned, like I did it yesterday, something that happened a few weeks ago that we needed to talk about. We had a conversation about it. It went very well, but I brought it to the attention of, in the matter of saying, hey, honey, a couple weeks ago when we were talking about such and such, I think we need to revisit that, rather than just jumping in last week, honey.
You're right. You bring up a good point. My therapist, the question that she told, like, what you need to ask yourself first, you need to ask yourself, is this something that is going to affect me? Is it going to affect me? Is it going to affect us? Because that determines whether or not I approach it later or not, so that's definitely a part of that talking to myself. Like, is this a battle worth fighting? But within that, okay, is this something that I can just get over and it not be a big deal, or this ain't gonna go away unless I address it? So then, yes, address it later, and definitely address it in the right way.
That's good. I like that. Is it something that's going to affect me? Say that again. Is it something that's going to affect me now?
Is it going to affect me? Because if it's not going to affect me for real, then why bother? It could be something that just, it's not that big of a deal. If it's going to affect me, then of course I need to deal with it, because it's just going to cycle back around.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's good. I like that, because I am the type that I want to talk about it right now, because I will forget, and it won't be revisited again. And my husband is the total opposite. He does not like to argue, and I am the type that likes to argue. So I have to remember that my approach does not work well with him, and I have to pipe down and kind of take your approach, Tracy, and be like, okay, how can I say this in the soft way versus, wait a minute, wait.
Yeah.
You said what? Because like you said, that independent spirit is hard, and I am that, and he has to tell me, you're not single anymore. You are married. I'm not one of, the people you see every day. And so I have to bring it down and be like, okay, I got you. So yeah, that's good. I'm gonna take that to heart. Is it going to affect
you both, you and Tracy, you are in positions of leadership. Do you ever does that ever show up as a wife and you have to kind of reel it in?
Yes. Yes. It's always, I'm not one of your little kids. I feel that a lot. I guess the way I come across in trying to talk or ask to do something, and I have to remember that I am talking to my husband, who is my equal. We're in this together, and I have to watch how I come across, because I can't seem like I'm talking down or telling you to do something versus asking, because there's a way to say it to where you come across not telling and asking. So yes, for me, yes, there are times, and I've gotten a lot better. In the beginning of our marriage, used to say it all the time, and even now, I have to check myself. I'm not gonna lie, I have to check myself, depending on what it is, and if it's something I'm very passionate about, and I feel like he was may have been wrong on, I have to bring it down.
Yes.
That's just
So, I make a lot of decisions at work. So since I make a lot of decisions, I'm used to just making decisions. In the beginning of our relationship, I made a lot of decisions, without consulting him, or because it needed to get done, I just made sure it got done. But it affected our relationship negatively, because I was just, okay, we need to spend this, or we need to do this, we need to do that, instead of saying, hey, honey, this is something that I noticed needed to be done. How should we approach it? And that's kind of what I've changed a bit. And he's actually starting to notice now. So maybe I wasn't doing a great job at it at the beginning, and I thought I was, but but he really is taking notice to the fact that I have tried to be more us than me, because I make decisions at work. And then it turned into, I didn't want to make any decisions at home, because I was tired of making decisions at work. So then I was like putting it all on him. So I had to find the happy medium.
Yeah.
Median. I had to find the happy median between making decisions and consulting him, and making sure that we find that place in the middle.
You said something about how you had been making decisions, not necessarily work, but before. And I think a lot of that plays a huge part. For me, as growing up, I have always been in the mindset of I take care of me because of my family dynamics, and just growing up, my childhood was very rough. And so my mom was there physically, but then there are times where she wasn't. So I got in the mode of I'm gonna take care of me, I'm gonna do what I gotta do. And so when he came along, I was in that mode for a long time. And to have to soften myself and allow him to be the head of our household and lead was very difficult. So even now, I have to, you know, put on that role of, hey, can you do this, or babe, can you do that? And in reality, that if I was by myself, I know I can get it done, because I would have to only depend on me. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people don't think about that our past plays a huge part in who we are as wives now, and we have to make those adjustments, because now we are one, and it's not just us by ourselves anymore. Yeah.
All right, Denise, what's your wife's personality?
I don't know what my wife's personality right now, because I know that I was about to say, Tracy, that was the question I was about to ask.
What?
About having all those jobs to do at work, and then having to come home, and then you said you just don't want to do nothing. Like, I have not felt that ever until this year. Like, I really feel it. Like, I come home and I'm like, talk to me, but I can't talk back to you. I don't know what you want me to do for you. And so, yeah, that was going to be the question. Like, how do you ever feel that way? You just don't feel like doing or making the decision, or asking, you don't even want to cut off the light. Do I need to have light on or light off? I don't want to do nothing. Make your own kind of decisions. Like, yeah. So I say, babe, you're at home. This is your kingdom. Run it. like, in the beginning of our relationship, I did not like conflict. And so therefore I didn't do the whole coming at you thing. Like, if I had a problem, I would not share it. But if it was a real problem, like Chloe said, I wouldn't talk to you either. Like, you take me off, I'm not even talking to you right now. And so then Tony and I would do the same thing where we would not talk to each other for a while. And so that used to be a thing. And so that was something we worked on. So now it's like, well, if I have an issue, my new self is just going to be like, this is my issue. Or if it happens, usually it just comes out of my mouth, like, what you do that for? Like, that was not even necessary. What? But on those days, I don't feel like doing nothing. I don't care if you're mad at me. I'm going downstairs. Bye. Are you upset? Okay, deal with that by yourself, because I'm going downstairs because I can't do no else. Or if he got something to say about work, I'm there for you over here, but I got nothing else to give for you after that. Tell me all about it.
That's real.
Tell me all about it. I want to know, but don't expect me to give you nothing back, because
sometimes you just ain't got it.
My personality wife, though, I want to say I'm America's hot wife right now. I feel like that's what I mean. I want to be that when I get off work. That's what I feel like sometimes. Like I am, because my husband is in gourmet chef mode, and when he's in gourmet chef mode, that means like he's in the kitchen as soon as he gets home, and then it's like spices and pots and pans are clinking and torches are torching and surveyors are fed and ovens are cooking. And I'm like, I don't even know the words to say. I don't even know what to tell you or assist you at all. And then he gives the kids their afternoon job, so that takes care of the kitchen. I'm like, well, then let me go ahead and grade these papers and put these grades in, and then I'll be done for the day. And so he's talking and cooking and talking. I'm like, got it, babe. What happened? Oh no, that what happened today? And what did you say? American Housewife is what I'm going for right now. Cause
I like it.
Because yeah.
That was a good question. That would be a really good engagement question. Like anybody who's listening to this, tell us your wife personality. Like if you can connect it to a celebrity wife, that would be cool. But if not, if you can put into words, what's your wife personality?
Yeah, never thought about it until now.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to come up with my celebrity a little later after I ponder on it, and we can bring that up. And everybody has to come with their one wife. Can't put them together because I'm putting Claire and somebody else. So just my answer. Claire is part of that.
Yeah, that's gonna be that'll be really, really interesting.
Yes. Well, we are going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. It has been an amazing conversation as usual.
Yes.
I agree.
Yeah. So y'all gotta come back because it's getting good. We getting comfortable. So come on back and see what we got to talk about next.
Yes. I like it. I love it. Clank, clank.
Clank, clank.